At the beginning of the story, we are introduced to a hitman named Lamb. At that time, Lamb just returned to his house, but he was shocked, because all his family had been killed by the Mafia group. Knowing this, Lamb rushed to get a sword, because Lamb was going to approach the Mafia group's place. Upon arrival, Lamb immediately killed all the Mafia members mercilessly and without pity. After eliminating the Mafia members, Lamb now faced the Mafia officials, including the boss of the Mafia group. Until on one occasion, Lamb finally could flatten them all without leaving a single person. 20 years later, Lamb now lives as an ordinary person, and he only works odd jobs near the market. Shortly after finishing work, Lamb returned to his home in a slum. It was discovered that Lamb had remarried a widow named Han and had a stepdaughter named Heen. Although Heen was only a stepdaughter, Lamb loved Heen like his own biological daughter. That day, Heen told her mother that she had been offered a job by a man named Tung to work in the city center. Hearing this, the mother asked if Heen had known Tung for a long time and what job Tung had offered. Heen replied that she had only met Tung last week, but it was clear that Tung was a good person. The mother was afraid that Heen would get hurt, so she forbade Heen to go to the city center, especially since Heen had only met Tung a week ago. However, Heen was tired of being poor and living in the village. She insisted, even reproaching her parents. Lamb, who heard this, tried to calm Heen down, because her mother's intention in forbidding Heen was only to worry about Heen's safety. But again, Heen snapped at them, saying that she would still go, even without permission. In the end, Lamb was no choice to grant Heen's request, as long as Heen kept contacting her mother. A few hours later, Heen secretly went to see Tung. When the two of them left, a tailor saw them. In the evening, Lamb and her mother were worried because Heen never gave them any news. Eventually, Heen called the mother to tell her that Heen had arrived and that she was fine. Hearing this, the mother and Lamb finally felt a little bit calm. Then, the mother tells Heen to go home quickly when the job interview is over. Then, the scene moves to Heen asking a woman when she will be interviewed. But at the same time, Tung appears with some of his men, because apparently Tung intends to sell Heen. Heen, who realized that Tung was setting her up, tried to escape. But in the end, Heen had to be caught by Tung's group. Back to Lamb and the mother, who are now agitated because Heen hasn't come home yet, even though it's already 2 a.m. Plus, Heen's phone number is now unreachable. The next day, the mother and Lamb try to go to the police to report Heen for not coming home. But here the police said that they would look for Heen, after she had been declared missing for 48 hours. The police also informed that there have been many reports of missing girls lately, and therefore parents should be careful. Hearing this, the mother and Lamb immediately felt panicked. After visiting the police station, Lamb told the mother to stay at home while he would try to find Heen. Lamb went to each of his neighbors who worked in the city center to ask if they had seen Heen. After a day of searching, Lamb accidentally met his neighbor, who was a tailor. Here, the tailor told him that yesterday he had seen Heen being picked up by a suspicious man. Coincidentally, the tailor had taken a selfie with his customer, and in the photo, Tung was also photographed. After seeing him, Lamb finally realized that the man was Tung, the person who offered Heen a job. Then, Lamb went to one of his friends, who was the head of the market thugs. It is known that he is named Lu, and Lu had a debt of gratitude to Lamb in the past. Later, Lamb said that he came to see Lu to ask about who Tung was and where he could meet Tung. After seeing Tung's photo, Lu was a little shocked, because Tung was the head of a gangster who often kidnapped girls. Then Lu told his men to find Tung's position now. Long story short, after several hours of waiting, Lamb finally got news from Lu's group that Tung was now at a massage place. Here, Lu offered Lamb if he wanted to be guarded by his men. But Lamb refused, and he thanked Lu for helping him. After that, Lamb went straight to the massage place. At first, Lamb was not allowed to enter, but Lamb did not want to listen and immediately went inside. Before meeting Tung, there were some of Tung's men who suddenly attacked Lamb. But in the end, Lamb could take down all of Tung's men. After that, Lamb entered Tung's room and mercilessly beat Tung. Here, Lamb asked Tung about where Heen right now. Tong, who was already helpless, said that he had sold Heen to an international mafia group, and he didn't know where Heen was now. But if Lam wants to find Heen, then Lam can meet a man named Seeing, whose eyes are slightly cross-eyed, and Seeing often hangs out in the downtown market. Long story short, Lam immediately rushed to the downtown market to look for a man named Seeing. In the end, Lam met Seeing and found out that Seeing was one of the right-hand men of an international mafia boss. Here, Seeing immediately tried to escape, so there was a chase between them. Unfortunately, in this chase, Seeing could escape after Lam was accidentally hit by a motorcycle. Later, Lam was secured by a police detective, who brought Lam to the police chief. Here the police chief asked why Lam was chasing Seeing. Lam replied that his daughter had been kidnapped by Seeing's group. Hearing this, the chief asked Lam to stop chasing Seeing, because the police were also investigating Seeing's group. It was worried that if Lam interfered with the case, Lam would only mess things up. When Lam left, the chief immediately told the detectives to keep following Lam. At the same time, Lam's wife was visited by Tung's group. Tung's group wanted to take revenge on Lam, because earlier that afternoon, Lam had beaten Tung. Here Tung, who only met Lam's wife, immediately vented his frustration on Lam's wife. Not long after, Lam finally came and there was a fight between them. On one occasion, Lam was caught off guard because he kept focusing on his wife until Lam was finally cornered by Tung's group. Later, Tung's group decided to stop after Lam's neighbor shouted that the police had arrived. There was also a blue-haired woman who kept looking at Lam's house. Then the wife asked Lam to promise that he would save their daughter Heen. Hearing this, Lam said yes, then Lam immediately took his wife to the hospital. The scene moves to Heen, who is seen being locked up with other girls. It is known that they will be sent to Cambodia to be used as comfort women. The next night, we are introduced to an international mafia boss named Tien. Also seen is the blue-haired woman who turns out to be one of Tien's right-hand men named Trin. Here Tien is upset by Tung because Tung has sold Heen, who is Lam's stepdaughter. Tien says that Lam is a former hitman who is very violent. Even among the mafia, Lam was nicknamed the Devil. Therefore, Tien immediately ordered the blue-haired woman to finish off Tung right now. On the other hand, Lam is seen going to an old man who used to be a hitman, just like Lam. Here, Lam tells the old man about his daughter being kidnapped by an international mafia group. The old man said that the head of the international mafia group was Tien. Tien has two right-hand men. One is Seeing and the other is the blue-haired woman. Then Lam asked where he could find Heen. The man replied that Tien had an art gallery in the city center and Tien might be there. In a short time, Lam went straight to Tien's art gallery. Before going inside, Lam asked a motorcycle taxi driver outside to contact his friend Lu if Lam did not come out within an hour. After being given Lu's phone number and cash, the motorcycle taxi driver agreed to Lam's request. Upon entering, Lam was confronted by Tien's men, who were disguised amongst a collection of art sculptures. But with his foresight, Lam could eliminate them. After that, Lam again had to deal with Tien's men, disguised as farmer statues. One by one, Tien's men were finally taken down by Lam. Then Lam entered another room, and this time he had to deal with female fighter again. They were tougher than his previous attackers, but with his strong determination, Lam finally could finish them off. After that, when Lam was going to look for Tien in another room, he suddenly got a surprise attack in the form of a net trap that tied his body. When he was cornered, Tien finally appeared with several of his men, including Seeing. Here, Tien said that he knew about Lam's brutality in the past, but now Lam can't possibly move because he will be finished soon. Then, Tien ordered Seeing to take care of Lam, and he asked Seeing to finish Lam off elsewhere. He didn't want his gallery to be stained with Lam's blood. After Tien left, Seeing beat up Lam, and then ordered his men to take Lam out. But before that, Seeing said that he had just visited the hospital where Lam's wife was treated. There, Seeing disguised himself as a doctor, and then mercilessly finished Lam's wife very brutally. As proof that Seeing's words were true, he also showed the necklace worn by Lam's wife. Hearing this story, Lam suddenly became angry, But what power! Sean immediately electrocuted Lamb. Then, when Sean and his men want to put Lamb in the car, Lu's group suddenly arrived. In the end, Lamb was successfully taken by Lu's group, and Lu's group immediately took him to their place. The next morning, when Lamb woke up, he was shocked, because now he was at Lu's place. Then Lamb asked about how his wife was doing. Lu said that Lamb's wife was dead. But the important thing now is that Lamb can save Heen before Heen is taken out of the country. Lu also tells him that Heen is now being taken by Teen's group using a ship called Dinman heading overseas. Hearing this, Lamb hurriedly went to rescue Heen. Here, Lu says that he really wants to help Lamb. But Lamb, who felt that Lu had helped him a lot, refused the offer. Long story short, Lamb came to a harbor. Then he left there by using a speedboat to chase the ship that was carrying Heen. After searching for a long time, Lamb finally found a ship called Dinman, which was the ship that was carrying Heen and the other hostage. Then Lamb sneaked into the ship, then without hesitation finished off Teen's men one by one. After that, Lamb went to another cabin, but it turned out that all of Teen's men had gathered and were ready to finish Lamb. In the end, Lamb was ganged up on by Teen's men. When Lamb was cornered, suddenly Lu and his men came to help Lamb. Until now, the fight was quite balanced. On one occasion, Lu confronted Teen's blue-haired right hand. The blue-haired woman was so tough and could easily corner Lu. But luckily, when Lu wanted to be finished off, the detective who was asked by the police chief to follow Lamb appeared. In the end, the blue-haired woman was successfully eliminated by the detective. On the other side, we see Lamb facing off against Teen, the international mafia boss. After a long fight, Lamb is finally able to render Teen helpless, but just as Lamb wanted taking down Teen, Sean from behind suddenly attacked Lamb, and a duel ensued. But with his strong determination, Lamb was finally able to finish Sean off. Behind that, Lu tried to get into the ship to find Heen, as well as the other hostage, until Lu could find them and immediately released them. Then when Lamb was going to meet Heen, it turned out that Heen was already being held hostage by Teen. Here, Lamb tries to ask Teen to calm down. At one point, Heen bit Teen's hand and Lamb hit him. When Lamb wanted to finish Teen, for some reason, Lamb chose to let him free. Then when he approached Teen, Lamb was suddenly stabbed from behind with a knife. Teen also died after being shot by the chief of police. Apparently, Lamb did not kill Teen because Lamb realized that the ship was surrounded by the police. Then after receiving treatment, Lamb finally waked consciousness up again. Long story short, Lamb and Heen are now at home. They are seen giving prayers to the mother who is now in another world. Here Heen is very regretful. If only she had listened to her mother's words, then none of this would have happened. And with the regret that Heen felt, the movie ended.